Hi everyone! In my final video, I'll discuss what I had to do to get into film school and how I stood out from other people in my application. As someone who had worked really hard to have good grades and extracurriculars, I felt that the one thing I was missing was proof of my creativity, showing that I could give my all to the program. I put a lot of time and effort into changing this with my supplemental application materials. I'll share with you how I did this and how you can make your application stand out. So one thing that many film schools ask you to do is create a 3 to 5 minute video showcasing your storytelling skills. I want to stress that the main point of this is storytelling. One of the biggest mistakes I've seen in USC application videos are students trying too hard to show off their technical skills. Fancy camera equipment, lighting, shots, or sound design, but not focusing on the point of their video. Film school is meant to teach you all of the technical aspects of filmmaking. But as much as we can hone our storytelling abilities and ideas, a lot of that comes from intuition, which is what you want to show. So in my video, I told a story I heard from a writer who came to speak at my school, with his permission, of course. He had been talking about a meditative experience in which he seemed to bounce back and forth in time until he landed in the present moment. I used his story as inspiration and had my sister act as a girl who was meditating, who got to see her life flash before her eyes in sort of this zigzag formation where she was in the present and then the past and then the future, and sort of bouncing all over the place. Although now I'd probably watch it and laugh, the biggest thing that came out of that video is that it showed that I'm innovative and can think out of the box and tell a cohesive story. If that sounds intimidating, don't worry. After being in film school, I've picked up on some tips for making a short film. Obviously, take this all with a grain of salt. You want to be creative in your own way, and you don't want to sort of sacrifice any of your creative voice to follow these rules. But if you are struggling, I think these short filmmaking tips can really help in your application as you structure your story and create your video. Number 1. Pick one theme and one central conflict. For example, if you have a short film about a boy saving the world, that's the only storyline you should have. There shouldn't be a B plot about him and his love interest. It's too much for a short film and it'll cause you to run out of time while editing. So essentially, pick one thing that's happening, pick one plot, and stick with it and give it your all. Number 2. Make sure your character changes from beginning to end. For example, in my short, my main character went from being timid and unsure of her path in life to seeing life's bigger picture and coming to terms with her fate. If you had a main character who perhaps was cocky and abrasive to those around him, at the end he could change to be more empathetic and appreciative of his family and friends. In essence, the main core of your story should be about someone changing, and you can use that central plot that I talked about earlier to facilitate that change. So for example, if you had a kid who was a bully, and the plot of the film is that he accidentally stumbles upon a scene in which he sees his own sister being bullied, then maybe he'd change and stop bullying other kids. Although that's not the greatest example in the world, you can see how there's sort of this main plot that you see on screen that facilitates a character change. Finally, number 3, make sure your short relates to you and your life. When I made my short, my main character's life looked a lot like mine and my family's. In fact, I had my entire extended family acting in it. The more you can infuse your life and your personality into your film, the better. If you hear a story or experience something in your life that would make a great short, use it. That's what I did. And don't hesitate to use your family and friends as actors. It gives the admissions team a great window into your life. If you are stuck on trying to create your film school application video and you're still struggling, please reach out to me. I absolutely love film, as you can tell, and I would be very happy to work with anyone trying to create their video. Now, the next part of a film school application is your written supplement. For USC, I was asked to write 2 written supplements. One about why I like to create art, and the second one was an idea for a feature film. Both of these are highly personal and everyone's answers are going to be different, but here is some general advice for both. For your artist statement, when I wrote mine, I did a free write that ended up being a couple pages long, all about why I loved creating. And so basically, what a free write is sitting down and typing without stopping for 10 minutes or more, a few times, maybe over the course of 2 or 3 days. And after pouring my heart out into, this rambling document, it wasn't too hard to cut out what wasn't important and have a really truthful statement, which I could then edit and move around and shorten. And once I sort of had the core of why I loved creating and why I loved art, I could frame it in the context of how I grew up and how I was encouraged to be creative while younger. And so that did two things for this supplemental essay for me. And the first is that my reasons behind wanting to be creative and go into a creative field felt really, really natural after I sort of just let myself free write. And it wasn't anything that sounded fake or sounded like I was saying to please the admissions office. It was things that actually meant a lot to me. And so my voice came off as really genuine and real on the page. And then second, because once I had this material, I framed it in the context of my personal life and my family and my values, it gave the admissions office even more insight into who I am and my morals and my opinions on the world and how I would contribute to film school and my peers if I were selected. And then the second supplement is a feature movie idea. And the most important thing for your feature idea is to show a different side of the stories you can tell. So my feature idea was wildly different from my short film. It was a documentary about a current event at the time, juxtaposed with a historical event, sort of cutting back and forth between these two stories to show how society has made the same mistakes. And as someone who was really passionate about global affairs and had spent time studying them in debate and my school's global scholars class, it was important to me that I showed my interest in telling those stories along with my more artistic, indie-esque short film. So my advice is that whatever you decide to do for your short, think of another genre of storytelling you're equally passionate about making and write about that. And it could really be anything, horror, comedy, a mockumentary, but make sure your excitement comes through the page so that on the off chance, something isn't working right in your short film, they can see that you have this whole other skill set in an entirely new genre, and they might take a chance on that instead. In conclusion, as you begin your college process, remember to sort of take the steps to figure out what your major entails, and if you want it to be, something in film school, learn what it's like and learn what the opportunities are and what the environment's like and if it feels right for you. And if film school does sound like it's right for you, remember to begin the application process early to ensure you're submitting the best short film and supplements that you can. While all of the tips I'm giving are helpful, they also take a lot of time and insight to sort of apply to your own creative material, especially as students that haven't gone through the film school curriculum yet. I really hope you've enjoyed this class, and I look forward to hopefully working with some of you on your application materials. Again, I know these tips can feel a bit general, and sometimes it's really helpful to have someone helping you apply them to your own work and your own supplemental application material, and I would absolutely love to help as many students interested in film school or any creative major get into the program that they love and start working and studying in such an exciting and incredible field. Thank you.